We'll do the Los Angeles Chargers first. First round, they went with Omarion Hampton, halfback out of North Carolina. Second round, Trey Harris, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Third round, Jamari Caldwell, Dalton, your boy, the nose tackle from Oregon. Fourth round, Kyle Kennard, the edge rusher from South Carolina. Fifth round, Keandre Lambert-Smith, the wide receiver from Auburn. In the fifth round as well, Oronde Gasson, the tight end for Syracuse. Max, your boy. I think we're going to like this draft. Sixth round, we got Branson Taylor, the tackle from Pittsburgh. R.J. Mickens in the sixth round as well, the safety from Clemson. And then Triquez Bridges, another safety there from the University of Florida in the seventh round. Dalton, where are we going?
I think for me, getting a guy like Jamari Caldwell in the third round, you mentioned it, is kind of my guy in this Chargers draft. And look, they lost Poona Ford in free agency, who did such a great job in run defense last year. I believe he had a top 5 run defense grade among defensive tackles last year. But they lost him to the other side of SoFi Stadium in the Rams, and he's over there with that great defensive line we were just talking about. But Caldwell's a perfect replacement. He transferred to Oregon this year from Houston, played a more versatile role at Houston. He goes to Oregon, and they say, hey, we need you to plug up the A-gaps. He's a little bit shorter. He doesn't have a ton of speed. But, again, just like I just talked about with C.J. West and the 49ers, this is someone who makes run defense a lot easier between the tackles. And he's athletic. He can take double teams. He's stout inside. Another guy, he might even have a little bit more pass rush potential than a guy like C.J. West. But the Chargers brought him in here to replace Poona Ford, get him in that early down role, and stay as physical as possible in the trenches on defense.
I'm going to go with our first-round pick, Omarion Hampton. This should not be a surprise to anyone, honestly. It was a surprise last year when Jim Harbaugh did not take a running back until the sixth round of Kamani Vidal in that draft. This year, he takes one in the first round here in Omarion Hampton. So I think this makes a lot of sense for Los Angeles. Maybe I would not have taken Hampton in the first round only because the running back class is so deep. But for the Chargers especially, it makes a lot of sense because you have Najee Harris there, you have Hassan Haskins, but this guy right here is a difference maker in your backfield. He's had back-to-back 90-plus rushing grades in each of the last 2 years. Omarion Hampton has the size and speed you look for, the explosiveness you look for too. Listen, like I said last year, I was very surprised they did not take a running back until the sixth round. Now they get one in the first round. Here's a very, very Jim Harbaugh pick right here.
I love the R.J. Mickens selection. I wondered if it was, a coin flip between Jamari Caldwell or R.J. Mickens, who you were going to call out there. Dalton, I think this is just a very solid safety prospect. Like somebody who, I love that Harbaugh and Minter identified this guy as somebody who deserved to be drafted. And to be honest with you, I think he could be a starter for you one day. Is he going to be an all-pro for you? Okay, maybe not. But I think he's just going to be a really solid starter. He understands the position very well, very technically sound, understands how to play in space. Love how he can come down and tackle from depth, which is something that you really need from that position, especially when your defense is really aggressive. Undrafted free agents that they signed, some notable ones there. Quarterback DJ Uiagalelei from Florida State. Running back Rocket Sanders. Guard Nash Jones from Texas State. These are people that we've talked about throughout the draft process. And there was one more in here that I recognize. Nico Reed, the cornerback from Oregon, who's, smaller corner but feisty, and I think he plays a really solid game. And so I love getting him there for the Chargers as well. Let's move on to the Kansas City Chiefs. Still in this division. In the first round, they took offensive tackle Josh Simmons. Second round, defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott. Third round, edge rusher Ashton Jeanty. Noel Williams in the third round as well, the corner from Cal. Jalen Royals, the wide receiver from Utah State in the fourth round. Fifth round, Jeffrey Bassa, the linebacker. Sixth round, no picks there, but then seventh round, one of Dalton's favorite players in this draft, running back Brashard Smith. Is he your call out here, or are you going with somebody else?
He has to be. I think he's my favorite pick of the seventh round. He's one of my favorite running backs in this draft for his receiving ability. Led all Power 4 running backs in receiving grade this past season. He was a former wide receiver at Miami. That's what Andy Reid is bringing him in to do. More so than thinking about him as a running back or a wide receiver, this guy's just an offensive weapon. You're not going to hand him the ball off too much. He's got kind of a thinner body. You can tell he's got a receiver's build. He's not going to break through contact too often. But you have Isaiah Pacheco. You have Kareem Hunt for that. I think this is the type of flexible weapon. Remember, Isaiah Pacheco, too, was a seventh-round pick, and now he's their starting back and was a major contributor on 2 Super Bowl winning teams. So I think Brashard Smith is the type of Jerick McKinnon-type receiving weapon that Andy Reid could take advantage of as a second-round pick. As a seventh-round pick. He's a really talented player, and that ability as a former receiver is going to come in handy in Kansas City.
I'm going to go to the third-round pick right here in Ashton Jeanty. I love this pick for Kansas City. He just feels like a Kansas City Chief type of edge rusher. They got George Karlaftis there, and this is kind of the same mold of a player, just a powerful edge rusher. Jeanty is 85-plus PFF grades in each of the last 2 years. He's a really good run defender, really good pass rusher. He has an explosive first step. Not the longest player overall, but he's a guy that can make a big impact in that rotation for Kansas City.
Couple of notable undrafted free agents for them. Wide receiver Elijah Badger, who, I thought he was going to get drafted. I really did. And then Jake Brenningstool, the tight end from Clemson, also an undrafted free agent signing here. Both of those guys, I thought certainly had a chance to get drafted. I was never the biggest fan of Brenningstool when it came to some top top 100 projections, but I definitely think he is athletic enough of a tight end. To me, like, you pick him in like the Oronde Gaston type of range, like as that athletic receiving type of a tight end, but he didn't end up going drafted, and he ends up with the Kansas City Chiefs here. I'll go with Josh Simmons. I know a lot of people listening to this are like, wait, I could have sworn he was going to go with Omar Norman Lott. Obviously, I love Omar Norman Lott, but like, I also love Josh Simmons. I thought that his tackle tape was up there with the best. I thought he could have been OT1 in this class if he had a fully healthy season, if we weren't having to talk about him coming off of that meniscus tear. Tape was fantastic last season. I even loved him coming into the season, so I love the baseline that he had even before 2024. So the Chiefs getting that player, I really do believe he's a starting offensive tackle for them, whether it's at right tackle this upcoming year, whether it's left tackle for the future, whatever it is. I think Josh Simmons is a fantastic football player. Raiders, next team. First round, Ashton Jeanty. They end up taking Ashton Jeanty at number 6. Jack Besh, the wide receiver, in the second round. Darian Porter, the cornerback, in the third round. Caleb Rogers, the offensive tackle from Texas Tech. And then Charles Grant, the offensive tackle from William & Mary, there at the end of the third round as well. Deontay Thornton, the wide receiver from Tennessee, in the fourth. Tonka Hemingway in the fourth as well. No picks in the fifth. J.J. Pegues, who, if you listen to Day 3's draft show, could be RB1 there with the Las Vegas Raiders. You never know. Going to an open competition, rookie, nobody's proven anything yet. Who knows? Tommy Millott as well in that sixth round. Cam Miller, the quarterback from North Dakota State, and then round things out in the seventh round with Cody Lindenberg.
Yeah, look, we're going to talk plenty about this backfield, but look, this team was last in the league in rushing grade. There's going to be plenty of talk with Ashton Jeanty and Pegues, and maybe even Tommy Millott in that mix too. But I want to talk about, they were also last in the league in coverage grade by far. It was actually the worst coverage grade we've seen from a team in the last 5 years. And Darian Porter, their third round pick, that's a Pete Carroll pick right there. 6'3", 4.3 speed, excellent in off-zone coverage. He and Patrick Graham are going to run a ton of cover 3 in Las Vegas. That's how they're going to try to build this defense. I think Darian Porter is going to start for them right away. He's a great fit for everything Pete Carroll's been looking for forever. Size in corners. Richard Sherman, Brandon Browner, Tariq Woolen, a little bit different style, but still big and fast, right? This is the type of player that Pete Carroll looks for in the secondary. Darian Porter from Iowa State is one to watch out for.
You got to let me go first sometimes. That was exactly what I was going to go with right there.
Okay, all right, you can go first on the next one.
All right, fine.
Actually, you know what? Just shout it out next time. Be like, no, wait. Yeah. I get to go first on this one because he got first dibs on that.
I was so mad about that. Okay, listen. I'll talk about Ashton Jeanty again if I have to. This guy is an absolute superstar, and usually here at PFF, we always say, hey, taking running backs in the top 10. I don't know about that. This guy you take in the top 10. He is an absolute generational type of running back. He's up there with Bijan Robinson. He's up there with Saquon Barkley. He's the best running backs we've seen in recent memory. Dawn mentioned before, last in the league in coverage grade. Love the Darian Porter pick. Also last in the league in rushing grade last year. And you get a guy who had a 99.9 career rushing grade at Boise State. That's 0.1 off from being absolutely perfect. He was not only an incredible player last year, an incredible player in his freshman year, an incredible player in his sophomore year, just an incredible career from Ashton Jeanty. He smashed every single rushing record that we had in PFF college history dating all the way back to 2014, and those records were held by the likes of Jonathan Taylor and Bijan Robinson. He destroyed those records. So love the pick of Ashton Jeanty. Again, usually here at PFF, we do not advocate for taking running back 6th overall, but when it's Ashton Jeanty, it's worth the pick.
Some notable UDFAs for them. The two big ones are Ja Joyner, the edge rusher from Minnesota, and then Mello Dodson, the corner from Kansas. Very surprised that Mello Dodson did not get drafted, so I think that's a really good pickup, especially, again, for that Pete Carroll defense and what he likes their corners to do. Man, there's so many fun ones here. Deontay Thornton, I think, is great for this wide receiver room, a vertical stretch wide receiver to really open things up underneath for guys like Brock Bowers and Jack Best and Jacoby Myers. Really love that. I love the J.J. Pegues pick. I know that we had a lot of fun with it yesterday on the show, but like Pete Carroll is the type of head coach that goes, yeah, okay, this guy going to be a lead blocker for us? Okay, yeah, we're going to hand it off to him at the goal line or whatever. I think that he can make the most out of Pegues' versatility, and I think about the same with the guy who they picked right after him, and Tommy Millott, this dude who was a quarterback at Montana State, but somebody who, I think he played quarterback really just because they wanted him to touch the ball every single time on offense, no matter what. In the NFL, he's probably going to be much more of a wide receiver, but they'll use him as an offensive weapon. He is like mini Taysom Hill, and again, he's not as big as Taysom Hill, but that's the thought process here is everything that you could do with him. Let's go to the Denver Broncos to round out this division here. Broncos in the first round went with Jahdae Barron, the cornerback from Texas. The second round, they went with my boy, running back R.J. Harvey. Third round, Pat Bryant, the wide receiver from Illinois, and then Savion Jones, the edge rusher from LSU. Fourth round, Quay Robinson, the edge rusher from Alabama. Nothing in the fifth round. Jeremy Crawshaw, the punter from Florida in the sixth. Caleb Loyner, the tight end from Utah, but also the small forward, power forward from Utah.
Yeah.
Much more of a basketball player, actually, than a football player, but he's drafted here. just very casual. Just Sean Payton's next Jimmy Graham, right? I mean, that's how that works. Any basketball player that gets to work with Sean Payton, it's right there. Is there somebody that you want to get before Dalton, or you want to save that card?
I'll take Ja'Day Barron
Okay.
because Sean Payton this entire offseason has said we're looking for a joker on our team, and everyone said, okay, well that's going to be probably a receiver or tight end or maybe even a running back too, and it ended up being a defensive back for this team. Ja'Day Barron is a joker in that defense. He played safety at Texas, played a little outside corner, played in the nickel. I think he could play in the nickel or outside in the NFL, honestly. He was the best cornerback in college football this past year. Really good in zone coverage, was the best zone coverage corner in the nation as well. He was the most valuable non-quarterback in the nation, according to PFF's wins above average metrics. So Sean Payton wanted a joker. Many people thought it would be an offensive joker. Instead, he gets a defensive joker in the first round. Now that Denver Broncos secondary, man, with Defensive Player of the Year, Pat Surtain, with Ja'Day Barron, with Brandon Jones, with the newly signed Talanoa Fanga too, it's a loaded secondary and maybe the best defense overall in the NFL.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, we talk so much about how much they need weapons on offense, and they would do it in the first round, whether it was a tight end, running back, maybe a Omarion Hampton. But Barron was a great pick as someone to add to Patrick Surtain in that secondary. That cornerback room was spectacular. But we knew Sean Payton couldn't go too long without taking an offensive player, and he only went one more round. I'm taking your guy here, Trevor R.J. Harvey, the running back from UCF. Just adds a level of quickness and vision that this running back room doesn't quite have right now. Jaleel McLaughlin's more of a third down back, I should say. Audric Estime's the power, kind of goal line, short yardage back. No offense to anybody who loves him on Stock Exchange, but R.J. Harvey really is a versatile player, and I love the receiving ability that he showed at the Senior Bowl as well. I think he's going to bring a dynamic element to this backfield now. Reminds me a little bit of James Cook in Buffalo, who went a little later than this range and has been really, really good, led the league in touchdowns this past year. So I think Harvey is now the engine of this backfield behind Bo Nix in this passing game.
You knew I was going to shout out R.J. Harvey if one of you guys didn't do it, so I'm proud of you guys. Some offensive line additions here is undrafted free agents. Clay Webb from Jacksonville State played guard, probably going to play center at the NFL. Marquise Cox, the tackle from Kentucky. Xavier Truss, the tackle from Georgia. And then the other one's Kareem Reed, the linebacker from Utah. He's speedy, a little undersized linebacker, but excited to see what they do. I honestly, the only other shout out that I have is Caleb Lohner, the tight end from Utah. I think this is very intriguing. All Jimmy Graham basketball jokes aside, it is interesting when you get a coach who has done this before. And it's not just Jimmy Graham with the multi-sport background and the versatility. Like when Sean Payton was with New Orleans, I mean, they were versatile with everybody they possibly could be with. And so Lohner's a good bet to make. I really like this one. I'm going to see, can he make the roster? Can he be somebody that really competes for snaps here this rookie season or just throughout his rookie contract? I'm excited to see that.